Hi guys, Derek here with the Closet Doctor and Oakwood Equipment Company. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up this machine for drilling all of the different configurations of handles and knobs on panels. These are all the setups that we'll go over. Knob centered on a panel, offset on a panel, handle centered on a panel, handle offset down but centered on a panel, and double handles. So we'll have all of those in there. In the description, I'll put the time stamp of where each one begins. So if you need a specific one with your machine, you can just fast forward to that. Okay, how to set up to drill for a knob centered on the panel like that. We're gonna come over here on the machine. We have instructions for how to drill for knobs. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set the spacing on the drill motors to 96 millimeters. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to switch the right-hand stop to a knob. So it is currently down. We've got this bolt here. We remove that and we put that in the handle and that drops that down. This stop is now up. Both of our stops are now centered over this drill motor right here. The last one, this is a safety feature, is we're going to take this cover here and we're going to place it over that right-hand drill motor activation button. And that's for safety so that you don't accidentally push both buttons and have two offset holes in your panel. Next, we're going to take our panel. We're going to go the finished side down, center it front to back, side to side. It's now centered in the panel, and we're going to hit our drill motor. And we now have our hole perfectly centered in the panel. How to set the machine up to drill a knob that is offset on a panel. So on a door or a panel where you're going to have a knob that is not centered. Here's what we're going to do. In this scenario, we want it 1.5 inches off of one edge and 3.5 inches up off the bottom edge. We're still a single knob, so we're going to follow our instructions for knob setup. We have got the handle spacing set at 96 millimeters. Do this before we set the other stuff. On the bottom tape measure here, this tape measure references off of this drill motor. We're gonna come down, and we're gonna set this spacing. We're gonna slide this over and we're going to set that at 3.5 inches. And we're gonna set that at 3.5 inches and we're gonna lock this stop in place. Both of these stops now, both the left hand and the right hand, are centered 3.5 inches off of the left-hand drill motor. We're going to come to the back fence and we're going to set that at our 1.5 inches. So we've got our inches and metric there. We're going to set that at 1.5 inches and we're going to lock it in right here. So we want to put our hole right here. This is our finished side. We're going to put that down right here and we're going to go to the back fence and slide it to the right hand stop, and we're going to activate our drill motor and we're going to go through. We now have our hole 1.5 inches over, 3.5 inches up. We're going to now set up the machine to drill a single handle centered on the panel. Doesn't matter the size of the handle. We can, from our smallest one down to 2.5 inches out to almost 14 inches. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to set our drill handle spacing. This handle is 128 millimeters. We've set it here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to check our stops. We're going to come over. This one was set up to do knobs. We're going to pull the bolt out. We're going to lower the knob stop down into the lowered position. Now both the right hand and left hand stop are evenly spaced on both drill motors. Got both buttons are ready. Now we're going to show you how to place the part. Slide our stops out, back fence out, take our finished side down, place it on here. Back fence, panel is now on both stops, centered front to back. Side stops, panel is now centered left to right, front to back. We'll hit our air activation and press both drill motor buttons. Now have our handles drilled perfectly center on the panel for a single handle. how to set up an offset handle on the panel. So if we want this handle 1 inch in from the edge and 2 inches up from the bottom, this is how we would set it up. Come over, first thing, always, we're gonna set our drill motor spacing, our center to center spacing of our handle. It's a 128 millimeter handle. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come over, and on the lower drill motor, we're gonna use this indicator down here to set our distance off the bottom. And we're gonna want that at 2 inches. We're gonna set that right there. That's just perfect. We are at 2 inches. We have our stops over here. We have our stops set at handle. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set our back fence here. We're gonna set that at 1 inch. And that is right there. Set that, we're gonna lock that into place. Our fence is set 1 inch. Our drill motors are set at 2 inches up off the bottom. We want our handle on this side of the panel. We're gonna go face down. We're going to place it against the right-hand stop and against the back fence. Set it in place. Activate both drill motors. And we now have it set for our handle offset on the panel. If you've got a pair door, you're gonna do the door on the other side. Same thing, just reverse the stop. Once again, set it there. And you've got your opposite side of the opposite door would match the previous door. If we want to set the machine up to drill offset off the top of the panel, but centered side to side, I'll show you how to do that. The nice thing about this one is we can set this spacing off the side. We're going to use the center to center step so we can do multiple fronts of different sizes without having to change the setup. So first thing we're going to do, as always, set our center to center spacing. We've got a 128 millimeter handle. We're going to come to the back of the machine, the back fence. Inches are on the left, metric is on the right. We want that down 2 inches. We're going to loosen the bolt if it's tight. We're going to slide it over to 2 inches right there. Lock that in place. Okay, our back fence is fixed. We're going to pull our stops out, our left and right stops. We're going to pull it in, make sure that our right-hand stop is set to handle, and the panel is now set, centered over the machine, 2 inches off the back. We're going to drill our hole. If we were to wanted to do this and we had a bigger panel, back fence would stay where it's at. We would slide the panel out, go in and go ahead and run it. We would be set up to where we could do multiple different widths with the same offset off the back. Video, we're going to show you how to set up to drill 2 handles on the panel. So in this scenario, we're going to go centered top to bottom and then space it side to side. I've got another video that I come up with my formula, but is what we want to do is we want to determine the length of the first hole off the edge of the panel. In this scenario, I came up with 93.5 millimeters. First thing we're going to check is that our drill center to center spacing matches our handles, and we are set on this one at 128 millimeters, matches our handles. Our stops are set for handles. Now we're going to come over on the bottom indicator here. We're going to come in and we're going to move that over to 93.5 millimeters, which is right about there. We've got that set and we're going to lock that in place. So we're 93.5 millimeters. Now I'm going to make sure the back fence is open. So our drill motors are set 93.5 millimeters from the left and the right hand stop. Okay, so we're going to drill the panel twice. We're going to set it in the machine face down. We are going to center it front to back up against the back stop. So we're in tight there, and we're going to push all the way over first to the left-hand stop. Drill it, and we're going to pick the panel up, and we're going to, once again, Make sure that we're centered front to back and that we are against the right-hand stop. Now we're set. We have holes for both handles evenly spaced. After this, I will place a video on how I determine the spacing for those on the front of the handle. Your method may vary. If I'm going to put two handles on a panel, the first thing I do is I'd make sure the color matches. But what I want to do is I want to determine the spacing and how these are going to look. If I put them too close together, it doesn't look right. If I put them too far apart, it doesn't look right. What I've determined is I like symmetry, and so I want the space here to be equal to the space here next to that same space here. So this space here to be 2 times as wide as this space. So here's how I figure that out. First thing I do is I get the overall length of the panel. This particular panel was 630 millimeters. I subtract from that 630 millimeters the total center to center spacing. So I'm doing 2 handles that are 128. So 128 times 2 gives me 256. From 630 gives me 374. From there is what I do is I divide that number by 4, because I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 spacings, and is what I come up with in this scenario is 93.5.